Yes, this is SJ Talks of Life coming back at you. Um, there was 10 people that was killed in the Buffalo grocery store mass shooting in Buffalo, New York. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip for you right quick, and then after I play this clip, this is on YouTube, so I'm covered under fair use because it's on YouTube. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip for you right quick, and then I'm gonna talk about it.
The aftermath of a mass shooting captured on camera, an apparently lifeless body lying on the ground in Buffalo, New York. The shots fired. How's anybody done?
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face. And we are hurting and we are seething right now as a community.
Police say 13 people were shot, 10 of them killed Saturday afternoon at this Tops Friendly Market in Northeast Buffalo.
Crazy dead bodies inside the store.
Tonight, authorities say they've arrested the alleged gunman, identified as an 18-year-old white male from Conklin, New York.
The shooter was not from this community. In fact, the shooter traveled hours from outside this community to perpetrate this crime on the people of Buffalo.
3 senior law enforcement sources tell NBC News authorities are now looking into if the suspect was motivated by white supremacist ideology and if he posted anything describing his intentions.
He was very heavily armed. He had tactical gear.
Sources say at least 2 rifles were recovered at the scene, with the N-word apparently etched into one weapon.
This was pure evil. It was straight up racially motivated hate crime.
Tops Friendly Markets sharing a statement saying in part, "We are shocked and deeply saddened by this senseless act of violence, and our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families."
Jesse Kirsch reporting. Let's bring in WNBC's chief investigative reporter, Jonathan Deist. Jonathan, we're hearing more about the alleged shooter. What do we know?
Well, law enforcement officials are now identifying him as 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, and they are calling this a racially motivated attack. Many of those killed in the supermarket wore black. The suspect was armed with a couple of rifles. Officials say they're looking into if he left behind a manifesto, as well as whether he live streamed or attempted to live stream this shooting incident in order to outline his alleged racial hate. They say he drove several hours from that suburb in Binghamton to this neighborhood, to this supermarket. He is now charged with murder in the first degree, and officials say they expect him to appear in court for his arraignment later this evening. Again, they believe racial hate the motive behind this afternoon's shooting of a supermarket where everyday people were just shopping this Saturday afternoon.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
So yeah, if you guys heard that clip, this man drove for miles and walked into this store in Buffalo, New York, this 18-year-old young man, and gunned down 10 African American people. This is terrible. This is horrible. People think that there's no racism in this country. That is completely diluted because racism is very much alive and well. This is just terrible. It's horrible. I mean, I don't understand how anybody can have that much hatred in their heart. All I could think about when I first heard this was how I couldn't help but to think of how divided our people are, how we are so divided as a race of people, and how we're not unified, and how we stay killing each other, hating on each other. And you know, when I talked about in my one video about when I was talking about black people, um, unifying and stuff. This was the one I did a while back. Um, oh, what did I title that video? I talked about a race war. I can't remember what I titled that video, but I talked, not the one I did just recently, but one I did before that. I talked about how if there's a race war, if there's a race war, black people are not going to be ready for it. Our race of people are not going to be ready. If there was to be a race war, our people would not be prepared for a race war because at that particular time when I did that video, they had caught some guys down south planning, um, making plans. Some white supremacists making plans. Yes, this was in the news a few months ago. And I think that more and more of this stuff is going to be happening. More and more of this stuff is going to be taking place. Um, and Black people are so busy hating each other, killing each other. We're so busy doing all that we're not taking note. This is building up to something. It's building up to something. We're so busy hating against each other and all this kind of stuff and being so divided that we're not paying attention. But this is building up to something because these things are happening more and more. They're happening, these hate crimes is happening more and more. Um, and This is terrible. I mean, this is my heart and prayers and condolences go out to the family members. Um, this is just terrible. It's just horrible. Um, and they say that a black man that was a retired police officer was working as a security guard in the store. He was one of the one of the people that got killed in the store. Because he was they're looking at him as a hero because he was trying to stop the shooter. Was trying to do his job, um, following his police instincts and tried to stop the shooter, but they said the shooter was heavily armed. He was heavily armed, and they said he had the N word, as you heard on that clip. He had the N word etched in his gun, so on his gun. So this was definitely a racially motivated type crime. And my question is, this young man was 18 years old. Somebody taught him to hate. His parents, somebody taught this young man to hate. Somebody taught him hatred. Hatred, racism, and all that stuff. It's white supremacy. It's taught. It's taught. Children are not inherently born racist. Because I used to work with young children, and they used to get they used to call. We used to have, white and black teachers in the classroom, and sometimes they would call me by the white teacher's name and call the white teacher by my name. So you know when children are very young, they don't see color, and they're not inherently racist or hateful. It's when somebody comes along and teaches them. If somebody comes along, influences them, and teaches them to hate, to look at people, treat people differently because of their race. And so that's what it is. Hatred and racism is taught. It's taught. So somebody was teaching this young man to be racist, because where did he get it from? 18 years old. Where did he get it from? And I just think it's sad because it's really sad. It's sad, um, that people at this day and age, the year 2022, people are still raising their children to hate. That we're still, dealing with people that are trying to bring their children up being racist and being hateful. It's really sad. And we know Satan's, all I can say is Satan's time is getting short. Heard about another shooting that took place in the church in California. I think it was California. And another shooting that took place at a farmer's market. It's like, oh my God, it's happening so fast. All I can think about is we in the last days of this system, and Satan's time is getting short, so he really, really turning up the heat. I mean, he's really turning up the heat, and um, he's using anybody that he can use. If he sees a window, he into of evilness in somebody, he's using anybody that he can use. I mean, his time is getting short, and people play right into his hands. So I mean, it's just we got to stay prayed up, people. We got to start praying and um, drawing a closer relationship with God, because it's only going to get worse before it gets better. I hate to say that. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And black people, we got to start unifying. We got to start, this stuff be happening. It's going to start happening more and more. Our people need to wake up. We need to wake up. You know, we need to wake up and stop all this who shot John and this gender war between black men and black women, and all this killings that's going on in our black community. We need to educate our young people. Fathers need to, be there for their children more. We need to start building up our communities, and all that stuff needs to happen, because like I said, if a race war was to go down, we would not be prepared. We would not be prepared for it. And that's the sad part about it, is that we're not going to be prepared, because we're too divided. So we're not unified. And so let me know what your thoughts are on this story. This is just so sad. It makes your heart sick. It's just so sad. So I mean, let me know what your thoughts are on this story, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that. And until the next video, be blessed.